Good morning.
Good morning, Martinian. How can I pronounce it?
Pretty close try. Martinine.
Martinian. Okay, Martinian.
Nine.
No,
Yes. But Marty is fine for conversational purposes.
gotcha.
Yeah.
And where are you calling in from?
San Francisco, actually.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
What's your movement of medicine? All right. So
Movement as medicine.
as medicine. Okay. Obviously,
Yeah.
my glasses need to be. I need an updated prescription.
That's all right.
Okay, that's great. Somebody who is actually on topic. And hey, Peter, how you doing?
Hey guys.
Marty was just introducing himself. He's in San Francisco.
Hmm?
Nice.
And tell us about the company that you're or what brings you here.
Yeah. We are basically a mobile application first wellness platform that is leveraging movement as medicine. And really that just comes down to w- addressing the barriers that keep people from being more active to the hobbies of choice. And so this is really kind of stemming from my experience as a nurse practitioner in cardiology. And oftentimes I see patients who say, "Hey, I don't want to be on blood pressure medicine, but I don't like going to the gym either. So what do I do?" And so I asked him, "Well, did you play any sport in high school, middle school, primary school?" "Oh, yeah, I did, but I'm too old now. The knees can't work anymore." And I'm like, "Well, but you'd be surprised how many 45-year-olds are in the same boat as you. And so let's create an environment where you can still do it at the level that you can. Just whatever movement you can do is always better for any health disease you can think of." So, yeah.
And I can completely relate, having overcome some uh, crippling psoriatic arthritis and s- strong psychological link, but just movement, light movement. And I went from high impact to low impact, so more biking and cross country skiing versus the running and other things I used to do. So there's always a way.
Yeah, and that's the knowledge we look to disseminate to the public because most people don't know that, and most people don't have the resources to actually even look up or even know where to start. So we're not only bringing you the knowledge, but we're also bringing you the community and the people. If it's a coach that you need, we will connect you with a coach in the community. If it's somebody that's lived through your lived experience, i.e., like yourself, Hinesh, right? Yeah, and then we say, "Hey, he lived through this, so maybe you guys can connect," and he can walk you through his process and how he got through from a high impact activity to just, low impact and seems to be thriving.
Very cool. And in terms of challenges you're facing, or obviously the what we've been talking about related to working with government regulatory bodies, what brings you here? Or what is it that you're looking to overcome?
Yeah. Yeah, so actually part of our partnership that we're looking to create is actually partnering with insurance companies to actually be able to distribute this to health plans and the members of health plans as a wellness tool. Are you familiar with the Calm app at all?
No, I'm not.
Oh, so
Yeah, CALM.
yes.
Oh, okay. I heard comp
Yeah.
is the one. Thank
I figured that.
you.
Prompting the witness.
Yeah. So
Yes,
basically
he's heard of
the same business model as Calm app is what we're going after, which is Calm basically took the day-to-day meditation and broke it down so simple that even middle school kids are doing it now. That's the level what we want to be as far as like movement is concerned. That you pick one hobby that you see yourself doing to your 90 and let's facilitate that. And
Okay.
so, yeah, what brings me here is, looking for partnerships. Ideally, small businesses would be a good place to start for us. Health plans is obviously the bigger picture because then we actually can really start to look at some truly validating data that we can see the health impacts of what we're doing and whatever barriers are there that we can address.
Okay. And who have you gotten traction with so far? What partnerships have you made?
Yeah. So we currently are, we co-wrote a grant with a couple of researchers at John Hopkins who are
Okay.
looking at behavior change. Ideally just looking at hypertension and behavior change. One of them was like, diet and obviously movement as one of them. And so when we pitched them on what we are working on, they found it to be very interesting. So we're waiting on the grant approval to go through. If that goes through, then we can kind of do the research that we're looking to do. As far as businesses are concerned, we're still more so our business model really B2B to C, but and our initial product was again, we're still in the beta phase, was just testing out the B2C workflows on it, right? Like, hey, can you even download the app? Can you sign up? Can you pick three, four activities that you want to go to? And can we now connect you with Peter? Can we connect you with Raman? Right? And so that's where we are now. And closing out this quarter to basically optimize that workflow and then start building out the business side of it, the business input side of it. So you as a business, you can onboard your business members or people within your team to onboard on Mechi and then essentially create this kind of a natural cohorts within an organization that we would also be able to supply like a community lead for that organization, hence the business side of it.
Gotcha. Gotcha. I'll just excuse me, Marty. I'll just pause for a second to welcome everybody.
Yeah.
Marty joined a bit early and we got talking, but welcome everyone. Peter and I host this call weekly so that we can demystify working with the government and regulatory bodies and really get the results we want, which is getting to market, commercialization, and improving long-term socioeconomic outcomes. And as we're talking with Marty, he's sharing something that's pretty meaningful in creating that.
Thank you.
Anything else you want to share in terms of challenges you're having, Marty, and what that vision is? Where do you want to take this? What's that impact you want to create?
The impact I want to create with this is think of Mechi 5 years from now as the Uber for movement. If you can land at an airport in New York and take out your phone and order a car to come pick you up, you should be able to do the same thing to find a soccer game to go play, to find a couple of buddies to go riding with.
Yes.
And so today, main challenges obviously is fiscal. We're very early. And so every time at this stage, we're in like the pre-Dead Valley, right? We're just now finishing up a MVP, we're beta tested already. And so now we're like, okay, how do you scale this and like actually commercialize it and make money? The current beta testers we do have right now are actually customers. They're not just people that are testing the app. They're actually paying for organizers to run the app and run some of the sessions, events that we have on there right now. So number one challenge right now is financial. So then I can bring more engineering, more marketing and things like that. And number two is partnerships. Because part of the funding is tied to partnerships. I go to investors and they say, oh yeah, let's get some meaningful partnerships. And then you get the meaningful partnerships. They say, oh yeah, but we want to see more traction. So I mean, it's like a catch-22,
It
right?
is. It's a chicken and egg situation where
Yes.
you can't get one or the other, and you're not alone.
Yeah. Yeah.
And in seeking out those partners, I really think the partners are more important than the money. And
Absolutely.
really going to develop those relationships with somebody at the same level, same um, what's the word I'm looking for? Same sort of or positioning for the same or similar avatar, or especially on the B2B, not the C side, but targeting
Mhm.
the B. And Peter, what in listening to all this, what are your thoughts? Excuse me.
Yeah, what jumped out for me right away was the story behind a coaching platform called BetterUp. Are you familiar with that word?
Not quite.
So BetterUp built a platform for coaches to lead generation. Really, they're all independent coaches, But what I found interesting about it was that people would get their coaching designation, hang their shingle as a independent professional, and then struggle to get clients. Like that was really the challenge. And so BetterUp, just had enough momentum that they were able to go and get corporate wellness programs, people ops, kind of the human side of these corporations to agree through their health insurance
Mhm.
to use BetterUp as the platform. And so suddenly all these coaches, they'd have to reduce their rate by half because BetterUp wanted to make money. But they didn't have to do any marketing or lead generation or business development to get clients. And so it always kind of struck me as an interesting model. But when I think about what you're doing, I kind of, since you said, the airport soccer game kind of moved my thinking a little bit. But before you said that, I thought, an organization like BetterUp already has all those relationships, whether you headhunt one of their sales leaders or figure out a partnership with someone like BetterUp. I'm sure they have connectivity into every organization, certainly in the U.S. But yeah, they really know how to engage and own that market space of the corporate wellness, which is really how they see coaching. They're not trying to advance these people out of the companies; they're just trying to make them more effective. So that came to mind. I like the idea. I think for me, um, the other thing that came to mind was, if you're trying to move people from inactivity to activity, um, there has to be some curation, which you said there's kind of a community leader, but I thought, where's the soccer game, for the 50-year-olds that haven't played soccer in 30 years that can go out and, just have a good time, like that, like, I mean, I'm Canadian, so we all play,
Mhm.
old timer hockey, right? We we we
Curling.
we bombed out as junior hockey players, but we still, hit the ice at at 70. And it's interesting because yeah, those old timer leagues.
Yeah.
And I was thinking about like pickleball. I feel like pickleball started to trend because people could do it
Mhm.
that weren't that fit. Now it's become actually quite competitive and quite serious, of course, like everything. Electric bikes. I
Mhm.
always tell this story about I saw this gentleman that must have been in his 80s riding a road bike, and his wife was behind him on an electric bike. And I thought, I bet that's the first time those two have ridden bikes in 40, well, since they had kids probably, and 50 or 60 years ago. Yeah, so I think that kind of inactivity to activities, that's the real, that's the genius
Yep.
if you can figure that out.
Yep.
And I'd love to go play soccer, but I'd be intimidated to join a league.
Yes.
um, it has to be a a scrub, scratch match. Yeah. Anyway, so those things popped out. But I think the partnerships, once you figure out who your persona is and who your target market is. I
Yeah.
mean, even Uber, ironically, why
How would you partner with Uber? Just curious.
not? Well, I'm sure you're. Do you have a freemium model or is it all paid?
Uh, it's some version of a freemium, as in you'll get five events for free, and then after that you're completely locked out. You will have to pay $5.99 a month or $9.99 a month, or if
Right.
you want
Yeah.
corporate price, yeah, that's $30 a month.
Yeah. So I mean, partnerships with groups like that because they're not obvious. It's really a rev share and and a freemium offer. So if you said, you
Mm.
know, if you're an Uber client, we'll give you 3 months uh, credit, and after that, we'll take your credit card on day one, but we won't charge you for 3 months. And after that, if you want, a discount for the year, here it is. And then, obviously Uber gets a percentage the rev. But I mean, you know, these are the ways to accelerate sales without actually having to invest in sales, right?
Mm,
Building your revenue model is a lot harder than people realize,
Mm.
as you're probably finding
okay.
out. You know, you have to either raise a boatload of venture capital, which is getting harder,
Yeah.
you know, as you know.
It's not really appealing to me either, because the moment you go venture route,
The clock's ticking, right? That's
clock's
what, you know,
ticking, the
that's what
motivation is
people, yeah,
ticking.
exactly. Yeah, yeah. Now you're just a stock being promoted and
Exactly.
hopefully a frothy market.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But
I can picture the Uber play in being able to get to the activity that you want to get to and it being that facilitating that. But the B2B play, I think, is really big because a lot of productivity
Mhm.
is lost by employers because of poor wellness. And movement is that lowest level of effort to increase better health,
Yep.
less inflammation, better
Yep.
sleep,
Yep.
better productivity, better
Yep.
morale, all
Yep.
of that, right? So
Team bonding, you name it, this like
yeah,
across the board. Yeah.
the public, your health system is different than Canada's, but the public health offices for major metropolitan areas would be interested in how to bring this forward to even the public service. Hospitals are major employers, usually the second largest employers within a city, followed by, well, your industry, tech industry, where a lot of, or the Bay Area and everyone there that sits on their butt for the majority of the day staring at a screen with no movement. And looking at the numbers, loss of productivity, absenteeism, sick days, and the flight risk. And if you've
Yep.
got an employer that's sponsoring something small like this, employees have a greater propensity to stick around. So there are different ideas, just spitballing here to create those links, the partnerships, and who
other thing, are you in an incubator accelerator program?
Not exactly. I did one last year, a very small one, like just like 12 weeks,
Yeah,
Founders University, and that's when I quickly was like, okay, I don't know if VC is the route I really want to go.
yeah.
Two things
You
I
know
learned.
what? It's just why I say that. I was just thinking that you could, like, if you think about point of entry and, you know, first customer contact, think about the entrepreneurs in your community, the founders, you know, the angel investors, those sort of kind of people. Because I realized that almost all my peers that work in that space,
Mhm,
especially the early stage kind of pre-revenue, pre-seed, seed
mhm,
stage investors, they
mhm.
actually make the entrepreneurs do horrendous activities with them. And it's become actually a trend. I don't know if it's trending globally, but it's certainly trending where I am. So if you want to meet with us, it's like, sure, I'll meet with you, but we're going to go do this 2 hour hike up this mountain. And, you know, and so like there might actually be an interesting bend there for you where it's, you know,
Yeah,
the founders hike or the founders soccer match or something.
yeah.
But yeah, that's actually kind of popped in my head. I
that's a
did that with a
great
guy,
idea.
even where I am. I'm at my family's summer home right now, and there's an AI guy here that wanted to meet with me, and I'm like, sure, but we're going to go for a 2 hour walk, you know, because you're wasting my time. If you know,
You might as
I
well get some steps
might
in.
as well have, yeah, might as well have some steps in. So
I love it.
there's another spin for you if you want to bootstrap it.
Yeah.
I think that's a great idea. And I want to open it up to others, Marty and Peter. Marty, feel free to message in the chat if you want to connect
Yeah.
with Peter after this so we can get to others on the call.
Yeah.
See other names and a very, very familiar face that resembles me. Hi, Dad. And looking to others, anyone else that may have questions, comments, considerations, any input to share with Peter and Marty as well. No, well then, Marty, floor's yours. Let's
Oh, this is great.
you're here, you get all the attention.
So I guess high level is and this is my first time I'm attending this talk. Is just to really get a sense of like, okay, you kind of have an idea what I'm working on. I guess how how can I help you, first of all, promote this platform? Because obviously it's a value you're providing, right? And so if there are other entrepreneurs out there that need to know about it, I have that community now, so I can access that. And vice versa, right? Like, okay, what is the expectation? And maybe you sent an email, and I honestly did not read it entirely, so I apologize for that. But yeah, so if you can just fill in that space, it'll be really good to know.
I think the with the different companies, industries that we work with,
Yep.
there's opportunity for cross-pollination, especially that they're emerging startups and really
Mhm.
pre-Series B startups.
Mhm.
So looking to commercialize, raise capital, partner, pair up, and a conversation that we can follow on after to see what that could look like to align with whatever your OKRs are and where you're going
Okay.
and understand where you've gotten traction.
Okay. So I guess from a product perspective, our main focus, and just to clarify, my background is actually dual. So I have a medical background. I've practiced medicine and kind of shifting more into tech now because the products that are out there that have been built by techs to solve for healthcare issues, I just haven't been convinced that they are doing the job they're supposed to be doing. And that's my motivation. Be like, okay, what does it look like to have a healthcare provider, not just a provider, but someone that was a nurse before I became a clinician? And what does that actually look like to address public health from a bird's eye view, right? And so my main focus has really just been growing the immediate community. We have about 250 soccer players on the app right now who are using the app pretty much every day, every other day. And that's was just the main focus. Like, okay, instead of just going out and just getting downloads and just getting users, without really getting a sense of like, okay, what are we learning from the users and what can we really focus on building? Was kind of what really just drove us from not just like, oh, let's just download, right? Like let's just get a social media person and get 2,000 downloads. I'm like, no, we're doing the same playbook and expecting a different outcome, right? How do you really truly approach this as as a science? And that's the way I am approaching this. It has to be approached as a science. If we're talking about behavioral change, we have to first step back up and say, okay, what is the thing that is keeping people from doing this behavior we know is good for them,
Yes.
right?
Yes. And
So
what data
that's
are you collecting? This is really interesting because, and I'm just going to share what's coming to mind,
yeah,
especially that you've got traction with a certain market. You've got traction with soccer players.
yeah,
So digging into that and spreading that, focusing on that one sport to then
yes,
either focus geographically, focus on a specific demographic, or focus on a certain sport. So you've got
yeah,
traction on that sport. Understand the data. Who are the guys that? So you're really being able to
yeah,
hone in on the niche, even though there's a benefit to everybody. It's
yes,
getting clear on that target avatar. Is who are they? Where they live? Are they urban, suburban? What age are they? What's their education? When do they look at the app? When are they looking to meet people?
mhm,
To give you more information in terms of what to lean into and
yeah,
why, what are the benefits that they're getting from it? Is it community or is it wellness? It's almost always community. That connection, human connection, is the
yeah,
most sacred thing that we neglect that leads to wellness,
absolutely.
improved cardiovascular health, decreased rates of suicide, addiction. All these benefits come from connection.
Yes.
So understanding that data is key. So I don't know. Can you tell me what you've collected, what you've learned?
Yes. So far you're absolutely spot on with the community aspects of it. The way we build that app is not just you download the app and you can just join a community. No, people want that sense, that little bit of sense of exclusivity, but also be like, if I'm not feeling this, I can go somewhere else, still within the same platform. And so within our app, you can create your own community, and then that community can have exclusive events just for that community. Or if you're on the app, you can also see other events that are going on the app. So if it's a community exclusive event, then you feel that little like, whoa, this is like, my exclusive event I'm going to. But also there's like a casual hike on a Sunday, right? Like, yeah, maybe this is where I go to meet new people. And like maybe now I kind of grow outside of this immediate community. So first thing I saw that's really improved, like just blown through the charts of retention, like somewhere like close to 70%, is the community aspect of it. Is that consistency of events happening. So people know that every Sunday between 5 p.m. to 7 p.m. there's going to be a soccer game that's hosted by Marty at this park at this time. These are the criteria that Marty set in place. You need to meet these criteria before you show up. So that's one of the personas that we're seeing right now is like people that appreciate that sense of structure, consistency, accountability, and reliability, right? Age group is actually pretty spread out, but the average I would say is about like that 35 to 40, as in they either have a kid at home, and so that's like the small sliver window that they have in their day that they can come do that one thing. And that sense of consistency means that they can now organize and arrange their life around that thing, myself included. Like to the point where now, when my wife and I were planning a trip out on a Sunday, she goes, "Okay, just to confirm again, what times is soccer?" So the trip gets planned around that sliver of time that I've carved out for myself. That is the one hobby I want to play for as long as possible, right? To the point where even, we're having a kid, okay, we're expecting a kid, we're already negotiating. Okay, each person going to have 4 weeks, 4 hours during the week for themselves, right? And so what does that look like? Am I going to cash in all my 4 hours on like one Sunday for soccer, or am I going to split it 2 hours on Sunday and 2 hours? And so that's kind of the personas that we're seeing with the immediate testers that we have right now. They're definitely also appreciative of the ability to track some sort of data point on the app directly. So currently we have the ability for you to track your resting heart rate after each event. So I go for a soccer game, 2 hours later, the app reminds me to come back and enter my resting heart rate. And over a 6 month period of time, you can actually see a trend and you can know firsthand, that this month that I didn't go and play, when I came back and played, my resting heart rate was much higher. And exactly, I'm wearing one
Why
as
not
well.
partner with a wearable manufactured that's not mainstream? So don't go for Aura, don't go for the Samsung Fitness, go for the mid-market players that are looking to get greater market traction.
Yeah, and yeah, those are the partnerships that I'm looking to create in calls like this. Yes, right. And so very much so. I'm very much open to that. We've built the stats part of our app is built to basically ingest any data that you want to capture and show on that screen. So not just resting heart rate, but if you want to track your glucose level, for example, you can pull that on there. You want to track, calories burnt during a soccer game. If your device captures that, we're going to be able to show you that.
And
So
make it competitive. I have weekly, monthly board leaders in some way because, yeah, competition's a beautiful thing.
yes, yes. And so yeah, to Peter's point, like, subscription versus freemium model, I shied away from subscription because again, we A/B tested the beta testers, and one group were like, we're just gonna host soccer games for free. You don't pay anything, you just show up and play. And the attendance rate was like 30%. Okay. And I say, okay, you know what? No, this is value that we're bringing to you. We're going to charge you $5.99 a month. Only people that pay would play. And this is the way we'll play. This is time. This is structure, blah, blah, blah. And suddenly attendance rate goes from 30 to about 80%. I have people literally on the waiting list every Sunday now.
Wow,
Yes.
that's amazing.
Yes. And so to me, it was like, okay, don't charge a ridiculous price, but charge somewhere that is entry enough that people go, oh, 5.99 they thought was for the game. But I said, no, no, it's 5.99 for the month, right? For the month means that, yeah, it's every time you see that Venmo request come through, you're like a little bit reminded, right? Like, oh yeah, I paid for soccer for this. Oh wait, I haven't gone this month. Maybe I should go. I mean, I am paying for it after all. So there's that psychological aspect of it. And secondly, it cleans up the noise. I don't want people that are going to be on the app that are not going to be engaging. I want an engaging community. I want an engaging users. And thirdly, we also like, listen, I care more about you being really healthy. I mean, obviously, there's the business side of it, the marketing, there's margins that we're going to tackle in the back end. But the more active you are, actually, the more events you attend, you actually earn some of that money back.
Hmm.
Yes.
Okay, explain that.
Yes. So, like, basically, like you were saying, gamification, right? So, with each event that you attend, you earn points, and those points convert to actually dollars. And those dollars can then be redeemed at partnerships that we are creating right now locally. So, we're partnering with like local stores, local facilities, for example. There's like a field in San Francisco that they host like soccer games, but they cost like $130 an hour to rent. I'm like, most people can't afford that. However, if we collectively put them together, everybody chips in $1 and you get 130 people, suddenly they're only paying $1 per hour for the field. Um, we'll partner with like, uh, active wear, active lifestyle, businesses that brings traffic to their doors. We get to co-host events with them. And then also nonprofit organizations looking at, some people don't always want money back. I make enough money, but that sense of like, oh, I want something back this month. There's evidence, actually plenty of scientific evidence now showing that just the act of gifting is actually boosts your dopamine level, right? And so when you give people that opportunity, like, hey, this $5 you earned for the month of June, do you want to donate it to a nonprofit organization and make that process as seamless as possible? There's a lot of interest in that as well.
Yeah, dopamine and serotonin, and
Yes.
great avenue to look at more partnerships, United Way or other mass charitable organizations that funnel money to various organizations.
Yeah.
Or even
So,
picking one, if you did go through that the wellness aspect with hospitals in your area,
yeah.
is being able to bring push that money back to the hospital, to their charitable arm or
Yeah.
foundation.
Exactly. But, being working in healthcare for as many years as I have, in the healthcare space, we don't touch your product until we see data to back it up,
Of
to back
course.
it, right?
Yeah,
And so research is one avenue, right? Hence why we're looking at doing some, behavioral change research, like a feasibility study. Um, partnerships, like actual, like legitimate partnerships that they're gonna go, oh, you partner with blah blah blah, and their business is actually using this now. Like then you can actually show, yes, they onboarded on this. We did a survey, 30% of people said they were active. Yeah, right. Like 6 months after being on the Mechi platform, where we facilitated and also gave them ad hoc events or activities, they came back. Suddenly, they had 60%, active lifestyle. That's data that they want to see. They're like, yeah, data I have right now is very tech heavy data, right? Like, oh, number of people coming back to the app, number of people, retention rates and things like that. They're like, yeah, sure, these are good. But how does this actually lead to health promotion? Sure, I have 150 people that can say, okay, well, my heart rate has gone down by 30% since I downloaded the Mechi app, started coming to soccer more regularly because I had this environment and this community. Well, 130 is too small of a sample size. We need something like in the thousands. So, yeah, very much aware of where we are and where the stage is. It's there's two avenues. We either get like an angel investor that, sees the vision, understands the big picture, or we get some grant funding, which I'm not sure if you guys have been watching the news, but that seems a little bit tricky right now.
yeah.
Do you know about donor advised funds?
Donor advised funds? No. Please text.
DAFs. So it took me a while to find this. This is it's called Athletica, and it's actually not live. They have a bit of a website, but they built a platform that people were getting points, like you said, and then redeeming them for sports equipment.
What's it called?
Athletica. It's actually Tap and Go seems to be the URL. I'll just put it in the message here.
Tap and Go.
So rewards, cashback rewards from merchants, but I know they're very sports focused. Like all of the stuff they were doing was around, I think, triathlons. Anyway, I don't think it's reached the market, but that's they've definitely built some tech. Might want to check that out.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Donor.
I know you were saying donor something.
Yeah. See if I can find you a good link. There's a consultant that can pick it up. So basically, someone makes a donation using a DAF. The organization invests the donation in your company. They get a tax benefit, and you get the investment.
Huh.
Here, this might be.
Do you know what instruments they typically use for these investments? Like, are they going to come for straight equity, or are they going to come for like a safe or convertible note?
Well, I assume you're only at a safe now, aren't you?
Yes, I am. But you'd be surprised. Some people, I've talked to a couple of investors like, yeah, no, I need a valuation and I would need a guarantee. I'm like, dude, if I don't know if you watch Shark Tank, but it sounds like a Kevin O'Reilly type of deal to me. So
Right.
I
I
will
would
gladly
like.
decline. Thank you very much. Awesome. Oh yeah, and it's Fidelity
I'll
supported.
plant a seed for you. So I realized that the best thing you can do to help pre-revenue entrepreneurs is give them interest-free loans with no terms and no legal documentation. Angel investment. Angel
Mhm.
investing is actually micro venture capital. And that's why everybody's so turned off by it, because
Mhm.
it's just micro venture capital. I mean, the minute a lawyer's involved, that's venture capital. So if you
Yeah.
really think about angel investing, and I thought, what is actually angel investing? It's a high net worth person that has money that they can risk capital. So why would you need a lawyer? You know, it's like actually paying credit cards off of founders seems to be what I've been playing with the last year, because
Mm.
everybody has credit card debt.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So yeah, I hope that I start like a trend where people realize, there's guilt and shame with angel investing. It's like, I mean, I by all means just call it venture capital. Like there's an organization like these national angel groups,
Right.
and I'm like, stop using the word angel. Like that's the problem. You're not, and that's why people like you get frustrated, because you're like, why is this? Why are you treating me like a?
Yes.
This is it's
Hmm.
It's actually misogynistic is what it is.
Very much. Because it's very
You know,
like, again, they'll say, oh no, no, or the family firm. Some of them will also say, oh no, we're just a family firm. We only invest in like, pre-seed and then but then they give you a term sheet that is like
that's my
even
point. It's
worse
it's
than
not.
the VC term sheet.
That's venture capital. That's why I said it's like I sat with it and thought, what is it we're actually trying to do? And it dawned on me that the only way you can actually call yourself an angel investor is if you're giving interest-free loans with no legal contracts and no terms.
Yeah.
That's angel investing. So I don't know. I knew I'll say it to you because someday when you're rich and famous, you'll be like, I remember meeting this guy like 10 years ago. He had this really wacky idea. Yeah, I guess he's probably right.
No, you're Canadian.
You're,
You can't be wacky. You're innately
yeah,
nice.
exactly.
Can it come with an IOU scribble or anything? Or is that just here? There's a
Okay, so I'll share a little bit more with you on this. So literally, I experimented with it and just sent like $20,000 e-transfer. Said no interest, no terms, pay me back when you can. What happened was shocking. I realized that this person had never been treated that well in their life. And I'm pretty sure I could get them to murder you at this point. So the loyalty factor, the trust factor, the information like they treat me differently than they treat their investors. And
yeah.
it's so interesting the kind of social science experiment I didn't expect. And like I mean I get regular phone calls, unsolicited phone calls, giving me like behind the scene updates. And like it's like, wow, this is actually really interesting. So again, I think there's such a kind of misogynistic, sadistic concept around angel investing as venture capital. And this is different. Like I don't want to put anything like kind of seed series A, like that's a different animal. And that's a financial deal you commit to. I'm talking about pre-revenue
Mhm.
entrepreneurial founders trying to get something off the ground that really are just experimenting.
Mm.
And so yeah, and it actually was interesting because I think I've created a stronger trust bond doing this because they were so tired of dealing with the paternalistic. I
I'll
mean,
tell you
you
one
just
thing,
I
Peter.
mean, just go to any of those investment raising things. You want to have a shower after. Like you just like these are. I don't go to entrepreneur pitches anymore. I think they're disgusting. If the investor wants to pitch entrepreneurs, I'll pay for the event. But if the entrepreneurs pitch service providers and maybe one or two hidden clandestine angels in the room, it just makes me crazy. I have zero in time.
Yeah, you're literally taking the words out of my mouth because like when I first start when I we were doing a friends and family round. And I'm like, everyone's like, oh, but you're in San Francisco, you could, there's lots of investors everywhere. You could just knock on any door and people will just give you money. I'm like, okay, sure. So yeah, I attended at least 300 of those events that you're talking about.
Hmm.
And some of them even paid for tickets and it'll be a full room. Oh yeah, come to this event, founders and investors event, exclusive. There's gonna be room. You never see anyone holding up a sign and say, "I'm an investor, so let's have a conversation later." It's only the founders, the basically milling them through. And I'm like, and then it finally dawned, I'm like, wait a minute, they just sold to the founders like 300 tickets at $20 a pop. And then
And
they
they
probably
call it
had
a
like,
success because it was
yes,
sold out.
yes. And I'm like, and then it was like, wait a minute, so you're the one that's actually making the money on the back end. I started tracking and I actually started talking to some of the founders that were pitched at this event. I'm like, hey man, have you actually gotten any checks from this event? Oh no, but I think I got some leads. And then they'll string you along, and then 3 months later, nothing. So
So
I like,
that is across the board internationally. And unless it's a very um, sophisticated group, like say Y Combinator, right? Like when you
yes,
get in, you're guaranteed money.
yes,
But
yes.
I see it now. Like I said, I won't go to those things. And I'll tell you two things. One, the entrepreneur needs to stand up and say, everybody in this room that's not an investor, put up your hand. And you'll see that like 99% of the room puts up their hand. And so you're not actually calling anyone out. You're just saying, oh, I just wanted to see. And like these event organizers, like, oh yeah, it's a wild success. I mean, we have something here called Web Summit, and the government spends millions of dollars, like $30 million on this, and I
Yes.
guarantee you, there's zero
Investors.
investors at that event. It's all government on, entrepreneurs thinking they're at the right event, and there's venture capitalists there,
Yeah.
but there's no connectivity between pre-revenue and investors.
And
And that's what all these ecosystems need, again, worldwide, not just any one
yeah.
place. So here's another piece of information, and please share this with entrepreneurs. The
Cool.
way early stage investing really works, like pre-VC, when somebody's using their own money, is they
Yeah.
actually invest in entrepreneurs that their other investor friends tell them about. So each community has somebody in the community that has connectivity to the entrepreneurs, or in your case, where you are, there's probably a few of them. But I
Mhm.
guarantee you, where Hanish is in Ottawa, there's one person that knows every startup in that region. And they might be an entrepreneur, they might be an ecosystem developer, they might be a lawyer, and they're the ones that actually connect deal flow to investors. And that's why those pitch events just make me rip my hair out, because I know they're just theater. Because every investment I've ever seen done is a syndicate of high net worth ex entrepreneurs that have had exits that sit around a barbecue, and they're like, oh, did you meet this, Sonia? She's got this, startup in AI, and man, she's smart and, working out of the university. Oh, tell me more. And next thing you know, they're all investing. That's how it really works. And it makes me mental. The government has, exploited this as, as theater.
Yeah.
Just it's us. And this is worldwide. I actually was on a meeting this morning in the UK in
Mhm.
Manchester, all the same issues.
Yeah. I mean, like, and it's sad, right? Because like for someone that doesn't have
Well, it's
the
wasting your time.
yeah, the ability to go to that barbecue, your name never comes up, right?
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
so yeah, and I'm not naive to that. Like honestly, that's why from day one, I'm like, listen, I'm doing my own thing.
Yeah.
Sure, if you want to come on board, you can. This is what blew my mind, right? They know you're pre-revenue, but they're like, what's the traction? I'm like, we're pre-revenue. Like, we're
Yeah,
literally
yeah.
so like we just wrote the first three lines of
Can you
code.
ask me can you ask me an intelligent question, like, why am I doing
Yes.
this?
Yes. What is my why? What is
Uh,
the big picture? What does the market size look like? Where do you see yourself doing this
right,
in the next
right.
5 to 10 years, right? Like,
Yeah,
do you,
yeah.
did you see this expanding to, I don't know, Brazil, which is like the freaking capital of soccer? Yes.
Yeah,
Right? And
yeah, yeah.
in Brazil, it's not just a freaking app anymore. It becomes an ecosystem where we not just own the app, but we also own the infrastructure. Like
Yeah.
talking about things like that, I'm like, but anyway.
But that's okay, but that's what you're this is what's so interesting is this is why I keep telling people there's a disconnect in the ecosystem, because you're looking for that conversation, and what you're getting is the venture capital conversation.
Conversation.
Right? Like, you need a right hand dominant hemisphere entrepreneur that has some extra money to come and say, man, I love soccer. This is awesome. Like, I know, I can think of three people off the top of my head
We
that
want to
are
play
like
soccer on a regular basis.
either like playing soccer or totally in love with soccer, and like one of the guys from eBay that owns the Whitecaps. Oh, what's his name? Oh, it's right on the tip of my tongue. Like someone like that, you know, there's a, there's a
Ryan
guy.
Reynolds lives down the street
Yeah,
from, doesn't he,
yeah,
Peter?
exactly. Yeah, yeah, exactly. There's lots of soccer lovers and fans and this is why I think there's such a disconnect. So for you, like, you need to connect with high net worth individuals on the soccer pitch, and like, I have a friend in Nigeria. They run a massive nonprofit, um, taking kids, impoverished Nigerian kids, and bringing them into the soccer world. And I think
Hmm.
they've actually got three pro players in the UK now that came out of this program. And it's, what's it called? It's a horrible name, like Slum to Stardom, I think. And
Love it.
and yeah, exactly. It's like, oh, do you really need to use the word slum? But anyway, it's not my NGO. but like there's another guy in Victoria that's a like super soccer player,
Hmm.
that invests all the time. So like I think you got to find the soccer player first, and then find the soccer player that was an entrepreneur, is an entrepreneur that has money to spend, and get them to give you money, not give
Not
you
not VC
some
money.
bullshit. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's like no, 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 no. Yeah, no, venture philanthropy is the future, in my opinion.
Okay. Well, for
But
what
yeah,
it's worth, if you have that extra 20K check laying around,
yeah, exactly. I haven't done any in the U.S. That's interesting. I haven't thought about that. I seem to
Yeah.
have, this kind of this.
But while you ponder that, Mike, welcome.
Uh,
Saw you hopped on and off and back again. So if there was anything you wanted to share or ask, we're listening. Okay, we'll take that as a no.
Just listening.
Okay, fair enough. Thank you.
Okay, we can discuss later. Yeah.
Sure thing, Mike. Yeah, I like
Thank
that idea, Peter, of being able to give money without strings attached because the gratitude's there, and that made a part of my brain melt. I think just
well,
hearing.
and like I said, I didn't expect the level of loyalty, but I'm pretty sure they'd stick a knife in you. Like
Yeah.
it's next level. Yeah,
Wow.
nobody's ever been that generous to them. So I don't know. Yeah, like I said, I don't want to take anything away from VC. I understand where it fits in, but these pre-revenue entrepreneurs that walk away shaking their head, wondering, why they just got, why they feel like they need to go home and have a shower.
Yeah. No,
That's the
it
one.
really is. Because
Yeah.
like for me, especially someone that I hate owing people money, as in like when I say I'm gonna do something, I will go to my grave honoring that promise, right?
Well, that's just it. And again, you got to have a good picker, right? Like you're not just going to do this for everybody. But
Yep.
I think if you have a good picker, then it's easy. And you know, and then like so, I have some friends that run a private equity roll up. This Constellation software is kind of the godfather, but everybody's copied this idea. And he was talking about like, aren't we wonderful? We've got all these revenue producing companies. We have these meetings with our CEOs. And I'm thinking, dude, if you're having meetings with the CEOs, you're doing something wrong. That's not a positive. Tell me when it's called Sure Swift. I'm like, tell me when Sure Swift has CEOs running companies and you know pushing capital back to the fund where you don't talk to them. Like
Mhm.
that's my version of success.
Yes. Yeah.
And I could tell he still had that kind of that paternalistic kind of like oh well, as
They
the
come to me for
yeah,
things.
exactly.
They
I'm the
need me.
guy, and it's like it's like you've never been an operator in your life. You got lucky with some investments. Like give me a break. Yeah,
Yeah,
so it's interesting. How I kind of I guess I see it.
you
You know,
cringe.
to yeah, my definition of true wealth is a credit card somebody else pays. Like it, just like So I guess I don't have that control need that these guys have created for themselves. But
Yeah, I
yeah,
mean,
yeah.
for me, we've been doing this 2 years now. We're going into our third year, and every validation that I needed at some point has just come innately,
Yeah,
which has just kept me going, even bootstrapping, spending my own money and things like that on this. From the very
yeah.
beginning was, okay, I'm having this problem. I'm seeing this problem in practice. I'm having this problem in my own personal life. I wonder who within my peers have the same problem. So I went and spoke out to like 10 of my friends. Out of those 10, 8 of them were like, yeah, man, I want to just go play volleyball on a Tuesday. And it's so freaking hard to find the right people at the right time and right place. So that was the
Yeah, you
first
want
one.
to pick up. Yeah, you
Yes.
just want to pick up game. Yeah, yeah,
Yes. But not just pick up, but pick up that is organized and
yeah,
adult
yeah,
and
yeah,
grown-ups. And people are going to
yeah,
actually show up when they say they're going to show up, right?
yeah, yeah.
So then within that network of friends, I'm like, if this is such a problem for you, are you willing to help me write the first line of code for this? He's like, absolutely. So the first line of code was written by a friend basically, obviously, he invested his time and he has equity in the company. But if he had not believed in the problem, he would not have done it. And then he got to a point where he's like, well, we need an algorithm. We need someone that can build algorithms, and I can't do that. So you need to go sell this idea to somebody else that can build an algorithm.
Yeah, yeah.
And so again, we tapped into the friend network and we had a data scientist. This guy has like a PhD from UC Berkeley. I'm like, listen, this is a problem. He's like, man, I play tennis and people lie on the tennis ratings. People will say like, oh, I'm a five, I'm a four.
That's right.
Go play
Yeah,
with them and they freaking suck. And he's like,
yeah,
I just
yeah,
wasted 2 hours of my Saturday I could have been playing with my kid, and then just to go find out that this person can't even play with me. And that's you
That's
right.
yeah.
like, what's coming to mind is having, excuse me, having something like a dating app. What are you interested in? Geography, what's your distance, right? I want to play tennis. This is the level
Right,
for, and then where you can rate them after as well.
Yes.
2 stars because they said they were pro level, but they're really not.
Yes.
right. They're peer reviewed.
Mm-hmm. And accountability. It's
Um,
funny. It's funny you said that, Hitesh, because like the initial pitch for Mechi when I first started out was like, oh, think of Mechi like the Tinder for pickup.
Yes, that's exactly what I'm thinking.
And then people are like, well, but that sounds too datey. And I'm just worried how women are gonna think about it. I'm like, all right, fine. I'm just gonna be front upfront with what we are trying to do is we are trying to get you to be more able-bodied and more active, and the whole point of that is to keep you healthy. And so yeah, let's stick with the movement as medicine, but in the back of our minds, the engine, the way this thing works on a day-to-day basis, it is a dating app for recreational activity.
Yeah,
That's it.
yeah,
That's it. Right? And so, but business model wise, okay, it's pretty similar to Calm's business model. Even though Calm doesn't necessarily give you money back for being more active on the app or taking
yeah,
more meditation classes, we get that incentive, give you that incentive. And we played around with some numbers. I'm like, holy crap, we can hit 100 million with 700,000 subscribers paying $15 a month.
yeah. Well, and like you said, go to Latin America and Africa.
Yes. Emerging
Football. We
markets.
can't call it soccer. Football.
No, football. The real
So
football, not this crap we catch it with our hand and then put it on the ground and then kick it once or twice in the game and then we call it football.
his name came to mind, Jeff Mallett. I put it in the notes. So he lives in the Bay Area, and you need to go and hunt him down and park in his driveway until he talks to you.
Okay.
So he is a tech guy
Okay.
that owns soccer teams, loves
Okay.
sports, ex-athlete. But the reason he comes to mind for me more than anything is I had a conversation with him one day, this was like 6 years ago, and he was telling me about how they monitor their athletes, and it was
Mhm.
it was it was uncomfortably fascinating, but like they monitor their sex now. And
Yeah.
so if you're a pro
Yeah.
athlete,
Yeah.
everything you're doing and consuming is monitored. And he said the technology is so advanced, and this was like years ago, say 5 years ago, 4 years ago. So now it'd even be more advanced with AI. But he said they basically know exactly when to put a player in and when to take them off, and when they don't get to play at all.
Yeah.
And it's like the science, And so the Olympics is really the only thing left because the Olympics have a fixed date.
Hmm.
But if you see an athlete not going on the pitch that day, it's because their biometrics or whatever it's called are telling the staff to they had drank too many beers the night before or whatever. Like it was just like, holy shit, I wouldn't want to be an athlete if that was the kind of scrutiny you're under. you know
Yeah.
it
And then
made
now
I'm sure they have video cameras on them even
yeah, they keep adding more and more competitions on the calendars for these poor kids. I'm
now. Yeah,
sorry, but
yeah,
there just
yeah,
gets to be a point.
exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, but he would be a kind of life changing relationship for you.
Interesting. Yeah,
You
he's
know,
in your backyard.
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, he's
Well, are you still friends with him on LinkedIn?
no, I'm trying to think. I don't know. Let me check.
I think you should check that and then do the intro. And then you said this is somebody that actually calls soccer the right way, football, right? And then
Exactly.
we make it happen.
That last piece before wrapping up.
Yeah. Thank you, guys. This was really, I almost felt like I went to a therapy session. I
Yeah.
feel reinvigorated a little bit. I was feeling a little bit like, man, it's Wednesday. All right, who else am I gonna have to
Yeah,
set
yeah.
with?
Well, I'm
And
glad you came, Marty, and shared that. It's really interesting. As you can see,
Well, that's I was gonna say that's the other problem with being a founder. You're so isolated.
and
The
we
other challenge, the other challenge of being a founder is just how isolated you are.
yeah, for sure. And as you were saying,
just how much we enjoy this.
Yeah.
So
So
glad.
here's a question.
Our dopamine gets a hit.
Now here's the kicker question. If Mechi was released in your neighborhood today and you walk by that sign, um, I mean, this is obviously you're gonna say yes because you're trying to be nice, but what is a thing that you wish Mechi would do for you to be able to use it?
Be available in Canada for starters.
Okay. Well, whenever
I
I
like
come to
the
Canada,
idea.
I'll be hitting you guys up, by the way. So keep that in mind.
I like the idea of the dating app to be able to put in what I'm looking for, type of people I want to go out with, their athletic ability to go mountain biking, time, day. That's what I want because my friends are getting fat and lazy, and it's hard to find grown-ups to play with.
Yeah. Oh, I like that line. I'm gonna steal that.
Yeah, please do.
Yeah, and I was thinking about that. Like I know you've got a bunch of personas, but the term Zoomer. I know there's a magazine called Zoomer, but that's for baby boomers. But we're Gen X? So it's like what's the marketing persona? For you that goes after Gen X because yeah, it's funny. Like if you said, I need to find enough people to start a soccer game on Saturday. I'll organize everything. I'll get the field, and if you haven't played soccer in 30 years, this is perfect for you. Like some kind of some sort of Gen X version of it because
I gotta run. Sorry, I'm late for
yeah,
a
no.
call right
Anyway,
now. You guys
yeah.
should continue if you can. But off I go it and
Yeah.
we'll
We'll
connected.
carry on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Should we
Well, I
connect
guess,
on
yeah.
LinkedIn?
Thanks for joining.
Thank you. All right, we'll connect.
See you later.
All right. Thank you again, Peter. Appreciate it.